Everyone brace for impact here again, I know. That wasn't bad enough. If listening to Jimmy Dore speak on my show for, God knows how long, 10 minutes, wasn't bad enough, then I've got a double dip. So, Ryan Knight, who's extremely funny, not intentionally, but unintentionally, and those are the best kind of people that are funny, is going at it again. So this is the Proud Socialist, folks. This is the guy that's got, how many followers? 360,000. He's got a lot of followers, folks. People pay attention to what this guy says. So this guy said yesterday, y'all owe Jimmy Dore an apology. He was 1,000% right about AOC. Now I don't know what this is referencing, but honestly, I don't care. Like, if someone wants to find what this is referencing and send me a DM, that's fine. I'll cover it in the segment if you're fast enough. But, like, this is so goddamn hilarious. Like, and this is what I want to talk about in this video, is the alternate worlds philosophy. Is, right, this is how people online create a fan base, especially in the political scene, is in any scene. I used to be a video game streamer. I've done all kinds of different content. A lot of just what people do when they create content online, right, in communities, in gatherings, in groups, in organizations, what they do is they try to create factions based on the interpretation of facts, right? So, like, for example, like, look at the Stop the Steal thing, right? Donald Trump said the election was stolen, right? Now, there's going to be a percentage of his followers and people that voted for him who say that didn't happen. They're off the ship. They're done, right? But the people who genuinely do believe that the election was stolen, who genuinely do interpret the facts as that alternative fashion, right? They're hooked. And the way Trump acted in that instance is, oh, these people will believe that the election was stolen. They'll believe anything. And that's basically what Jimmy Dore has been doing. That's his little project that he's been festering on for, like, let's be honest, the last year or so. But it's gained a lot of attention over the last, 4 or 5 months with the force the vote bullshit, right? So what he is doing is he's building an alternative set of facts. People that perceive the world in a different fashion, right? And so, like, for example, this came in with the CARES vote, the CARES Act vote. Jimmy Dore and all his fan base and his ilk and the people that surround him, you know what they do? They say that AOC advocated and supported the CARES Act and voted for it, when she is documented on record vociferously against the CARES Act. They just claim that she voted for it. Because if you'll believe that AOC voted for something she profoundly was vociferously against, if you believe that, you'll believe anything, right? And so if you believe that she voted for something she didn't vote, why won't you believe that they could force the vote and get Medicare for all tomorrow? Like, I debated Nico House, one of the people in this little circle, and he told me in that debate, right, that AOC could have gotten, not only could she have gotten Medicare for all, she could have gotten a Green New Deal. All of this passed, not only the House, the Senate, but signed by Joe Biden. All of this could have happened if AOC and the squad forced the vote and withheld their speakership thing on January 3rd or something. They all believed an alternate world where AOC had infinite power and she made the choice not to use it. Now, again, that is interpreting reality in a different fashion. So once that interpretation of reality was put out there into the world, the next segment of their ability to create a cult was to have other people basically, over time, slowly build around that premise, right? So AOC says something that people disagree with slightly. Well, that falls into the fact that she could have forced the vote and she chose not to. She's a corporatist sellout. So they try to tie everything that happens in the real world back to that fictitious fantasy beginning, the mythological origin story, right? And that's how they get people to build this bizarre hatred of AOC, who is one of, if not the most left-wing members of Congress in the United States. Now, again, she's maybe top 5 for sure, right? But again, they're trying to build an anti-AOC ostensibly from the left angle because, again, Bernie Sanders almost became president 2 times. There's a lot of people with a lot of money, and I'm just shitballing here. I'm a conspiracy theorist right now. You got me, folks. But there's a lot of people out there with a lot of money that are saying that they want to prevent a Bernie Sanders figure from ever arising again. Bernie almost won. They had to do some crazy shit in 2016 and in 2020 to stop that motherfucker from becoming president. And they won. They got that shit done both times. And they see AOC as a potential torchbearer for that movement. And they want to try to bake into the cake a leftist critique of AOC that it doesn't need to be all-encompassing. All it needs to do is peck off 10%, 15%, 20%, if they're lucky. But really, all it needs to be is 10 to 15%. Peck that off, and that's all you need for these people to never win an election. That being the left in the electoral area of the United States political discourse, right? And now again, you don't see Jimmy Dore advocating for direct action. You don't see Ryan Knight advocating for direct action. You don't see all these people, like, they claim to be communists. Look, Ryan Knight's got a hammer and sickle in his thing. He's calling himself a socialist. He's not going out there advocating for, mass strikes. He's really only advocating for a general strike, which is it's not possible at this current moment in time. He's going out there advocating against socialist organizations like the DSA. He does not want to build real socialist power, dual power. He wants to focus on electoralism, Jimmy Dore and all those other people too, focus on electoralism all the time, but in how it's useless. Without if you want to say electoralism is useless, hell yes. Right there with you, buddy. Let's go organize a fucking strike. Let's go do a union drive. Let's go do something else. Let's go try to, volunteer at a food bank. Let's do all that other shit, right? But these people aren't doing that. They're advocating, or they're basically trying to amass a lot of clout on the internet and drive a wedge in people that have similar belief structures to create a belief in a fantasy world that has the ultimate effect, the real world effect of reducing AOC and the squad's power in Congress and being able to enact any sort of legislation, right? So that's what my little conspiracy theory is on the Ryan Knight, Jimmy Dore fucking troika or whatever the fuck. It's a disaster. It's all a big clout shark game. All these people are trying to reach to the top, and the net result that they've got is weakening the left in the United States. And so shout outs to them, man. They're really doing a good job. And apparently that tweet stems from AOC referring to one of them as Highway Patrol or some shit. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, who fucking gives a shit? And that's another thing with main character syndrome, is these motherfuckers, anything AOC says is all about them. If AOC ever issues any sort of vague comment about critics, it's all you're the critic. It's because I wrote that message to AOC that one time that she tweeted 6 months later. Yes, it's all me. It's all main character syndrome at the end of the day here. And that's why, again, even with me, never have heroes, folks. Never worship people. Now, again, I say you should worship people, right? The ego of me says that you should worship people, right? My career says that you should worship me, but I would be lying to you in some way if I said you should worship me. Now, again, I'm pretty good, don't get me wrong, but never have heroes, folks. Never get, never start believing a lie because someone else said so. Always do your due diligence. Always do your own research because it's extremely valuable and important. So, that's what I'm going to say. Because, again, the people that follow these people, they don't do their own research. They just Ryan Knight said it must be true. Jimmy Dore said it must be true.